I recently tweeted about trading with one setup, with one time frame, with one pair, trading in one session. A lot of people enjoyed this tweet and people were developing their strategies based off of this. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about why I only trade with one of each of these criteria and why you guys should do it too. When I started trading with one pair, one setup, one time frame, and one session, my result went crazy. I was losing less trades and overall the profit increased drastically. When I was trading with 2 or 3 pairs, it wasn't as good. Today I'm going to go through why this was, how I improved it and developed it for my own strategy, and how you guys can do it too. We're going to start off talking about the pair. This is one which people seem to struggle a lot with. They don't know which pair to pick. They don't know when to trade this pair and which one suits their own trading style. So I'm just going to say, if you are a trader who likes a lot of risk, then maybe you should start trading with gold or a higher volatility pair. You know, you can start trading indices, you have a lot of volatility, and then maybe not trade a pair that only has a daily range of like 50 pips. You're going to want a pair that has, like gold, a lot of movement. You know, in a session, you could probably get a couple 100 pip move on gold. If you're looking for that volatility and your trading style needs volatility, you can trade a pair like this. The reason I only trade one pair rather than having, you know, 3-4 pairs in my watch list, which I'm actually looking for, is for the following reasons. Firstly, you're going to miss less trades. The more trades you're actually taking, the more chance you're going to miss. And obviously, if you have 4 or 5 pairs on your watch list, and let's say you're looking for a trade on one of these pairs, you're not going to be actively looking on the other pairs, on your watch list. You want to have your sole focus, your main 100% focus on this one pair. You don't want to be flicking through. You might miss an entry on one pair, trying to get an entry on another pair, but then if the one you got the entry on loses and the one you didn't get the entry on won, well, your plan says to enter, but you didn't enter because you were too busy looking at the other pair. This is the issue with trading multiple pairs. That's why I kind of eliminated it. And especially if you're trading pairs with, you know, similar or currency pairs which are conflicting. Let's say you're trading Euro USD and GBP USD. Both have USD. If you're wrong on one, you could also be wrong on the other, and you can just double your loss. I recently had someone ask me about this in my mentorship. They were saying, if you know exactly how to trade, you know, GBP USD for the example for myself, and you know the exact setup, you know the exact session, why don't you just add another pair or add a few more pairs to then, you know, make more profit? And my reply to this was, well, let's say I have 5 pairs in my watch list. My rules in my plan say, if you see these exact criteria, then you have to enter the trade. Let's say these criteria happen on all these pairs at the same time. Because of my plan, I have to enter every single one. So now I'm risking 5% on this single day of trading. Let's say you trade every single day. Within 20 days, you could have minus 100%. Whereas if you're trading with one pair, you can only lose 1%. Especially if you're trading with pairs with the same currency pairs, like I mentioned, you can lose a lot if you're wrong on one of these trades. And then obviously if you're trading all the others in the same direction, you can be wrong multiple times. That is why I don't trade with 4 or 5 pairs. Obviously I could make more profit, I could get more setups, more opportunities to make money, but it just doesn't really fit my personal trading style. And also, if you are only focusing on one pair, you know that pair. You get to know certain movements, session times, which news affects it the most, and all these different things about that individual pair. You know, I was going to do a whole video on how to pick a pair, how to backtest an individual pair, and how to learn it. So that would be for a separate video. The main point is you will start to learn that pair. You'll start to learn the movements, how it moves, how you personally trade it, how do you find your setups. Obviously, if a setup works on one pair, it'll probably work on another pair, but you might have to use a different stop loss size. Like if you're trading on gold and then GU, you can't have 10 pip stop loss on both because 10 pip stop loss on gold is quite tiny. I used to trade with 10 pip stop loss on GU and also trade with 30 pips on gold. So obviously it's 3 times the stop loss size, then your target has to be 3 times. You can obviously do it, but I've just found it's better to focus on one pair and only one pair. Why would you only focus on one session? So if you've got that one pair, why does it matter about the session? This is kind of a personal thing. I don't want to be on the charts all day. Let's say you're trading London, New York, and then a bit of Tokyo in the evenings, or pre-London in the mornings, times for me in the UK. You can be there for a while. Let's say you get on the charts pre-London in the mornings. You don't have a trade in London, but you're still sat there watching. You're ready for New York. You then sat there watching. There's no setups. Going to Tokyo. Oh, I'm in a trade now. You have to watch through Tokyo. I don't want to be doing that. I want to know these are the set hours I need to trade. And if there's a trade out of those hours, I'm not even going to bother trading. You can use those other hours to maybe back test, refine your strategy, forward test, or just do anything else with your life. You know, you should probably go to the gym, do some martial arts, best type of workouts you can do. Go down to a jiu-jitsu gym, a Muay Thai gym, something like that. It will definitely improve your life. And it also means you haven't got split focus. Because let's say you're looking all day for a setup, you're not going to have full 100% attention and focus on the charts for multiple hours. So like 10 hours, 8 hours, anything around that sort of time. Whereas if you only have 3 hours, 4 hours that you can potentially find a setup, you then know which hours you need to be on the charts, which hours you can block out all distractions and just set your focus on the charts. Myself personally, I like to trade from 8 till 12 for GU. So I know exactly 8 a.m. I'm looking for setups. If there's no setup, I won't trade. Simple as that. I don't have to be tempted to look again just before New York session, or let's say it's like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not then looking for more setups for GU. I know that if I haven't gotten a trade by 12 p.m, then I'm not going to look at a single trade for the rest of the day, and I'll just come back tomorrow, do my analysis again, and see what happens with that rest of the session. And also, if you're doing this, it can eliminate a lot of losses. Let's say you've missed a trade in London session, you're then trading New York, you want to make the profit back which you could have missed, or let's say you take a loss in London session, you then want to make your profit back in New York session, so you force a setup, you end up losing on the day, a trade you wouldn't have taken if you're only sticking to one session. Obviously you would have still been down, but you would have stuck to your plan, and then you would have just been back tomorrow to then hopefully make the profit back trading with the plan. Moving on to one setup. This is very important. I'm not saying that you can't have multiple setups, but I personally think having one or two setups is the way forward. I see so many people, they have 5-6 different ways of entering a trade, different entry bias, directional bias. It can be very, very confusing for a lot of people. There are obviously traders out there that trade different styles. They might have a swing account, a day trading account, a scalping account, or they might just have different strategies that they've tested and they're all profitable, so they trade with all these different strategies. But if you are learning how to trade, you're learning and want to become a full-time trader, focusing on one setup is definitely going to improve your results. I just think of it as, if I'm opening the charts in the morning before London session, what do I want to see? If I'm going to have to flick through pages and pages of my plan to see, okay, this setup, is this valid? This setup, is this valid? This setup, is this valid? I don't really want to be doing that. I want to open the charts and instantly know, is there a setup for me to take in this session? Within, a matter of minutes, I'll be able to see if there's a setup presenting itself for me during the next few hours. This also eliminates a lot of confusion, because let's say you're trading with multiple different strategies. You open the charts, one strategy saying it's going to be a buy, the other strategy says, oh, it's going to be a sell. Which one do you trust? So obviously they're both strategies which you're using. One says buy, one says sell. It's very conflicting within your mind as well, because it's like, which one do you trust? If you go with one and it's wrong, then like, oh, this strategy is a bit, this one said it's going to buy and then it bought. Which one do I stick to in the next setup? Then the next setup, you might go for the one that won last time, but then that one loses. If you want to eliminate all of this, stick with one setup. Ideally, you can have 4 to 5 bullet points, or even 3 to 4 bullet points, which outline your exact strategy. So when to enter, when a trade isn't valid, when to exit a trade, what you want to see to potentially see a trade, all these sort of things which you need to see before you even consider getting into the markets and risking your own capital. And moving on to the final criteria, and this is one time frame. A lot of people disagree with this. A lot of people love to do top-down analysis. They'll start on the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, the hour, the 15, the 5, the 1, the 30 second, the 15 seconds, 5 seconds. I've seen it all. You'll never catch me on the 1 minute time frame. Let's just say that. I personally only trade the 15-minute time frame. I found it's the best for my trading style, but obviously this depends on the person, this depends on the pair, the trading style, and everything like that, to which time frame you're actually going to pick. I found with one time frame, just like the one setup, it removes all of that confusion with your conflicting time frames. Your 1 hour might say a long, your 15-minute, 5-minute could say short. Which one do you take? I've always thought of it as, if I'm on the charts, all I have to do is open trading view, 15-minute time frames already open, look at my checklist, is there a setup? Do I see these set criteria? If there's nothing there, I simply won't trade. Like the last week, I've hardly had any trades, or like the last few weeks, GU has been very, very slow. It's been quite volatile, obviously due to the news, but I don't personally trade the news, so I've kind of been staying out of the markets. And this is because if the criteria isn't there, I simply haven't traded. Today we've had a lot of consolidation, haven't really had any good moves, and I trade with trend following, so there's simply no setups for me. If we're not in a trend, if we're not creating those breaks of structure, those retesting for me to get the entries, I'm simply not going to trade. And having that one setup, the one time frame, the one pair, the one session, it means I know exactly what I want to see, when I want to see it, and how I want it to present itself to me to actually get into the trade. There is a way to test all of these, and I have actually done a video on it, and I go more in depth in my mentorship group. There's a link in the description. I hardly promote it, but it is there if you guys want to learn how I actually trade strategy wise. The way to do this is you're going to want to back test obviously the multiple pairs. So you pick out potential pairs which you like the look of that might be volatile in your trading sessions. This obviously depends on where you live in the world. You might not be able to trade during London session. I know a lot of people in America, they can't trade London session because it's like 2-3 a.m. That's obviously not going to be ideal for you if you are living in an area with a different time zone. You're going to want to test the different sessions. Test London session, test New York session. I didn't test Tokyo because I wasn't going to stay up for Tokyo session, but only tested London and New York. Which one was more profitable for me? And it turned out London was, because I was trading GU. And then I test the different time frames, test setups on the 15 minutes, how does that perform, test it on the hour, how does that perform, and so on and so on for the potential time frames which you're going to trade or that you're looking to trade. And then I do it with the setup too. With the setup, there's obviously different ways to do it. So I went more in depth. I went into the risk to reward, the different entry types, the different trade types, all of these different things, even the average stop loss size. So I knew exactly the stop loss size which I needed to use, and now I only use 10 pip stop loss. I know that if the trade's got a higher stop loss for me, it's not a valid trade for me, so I simply won't take take it, because I know that if that trade doesn't allow me to have a 10 pip stop loss, it wasn't perfect compared to my plan, compared to my back testing, where I've had a 10 pip stop loss every single time, and these are the results. Whereas if I start varying it, having 12 pips, 15 pips, 5 pips, kind of blows all the testing you've done out the window, ruins your risk to reward. If you stick to the back testing, if you stick to everything very explicit, the results will definitely be there, and you have stats to back it up, so why wouldn't you? And once you've done all this, you've compiled all your statistics for the 4 different things you actually need to know about your strategy. This is when you can start executing, when you're going to start trading it live, because you've got the results from back testing, forward testing, you know it's okay to trade. And you can use your personal account, prop firms, funded accounts, investor accounts, anything. And this is when you hopefully start raking in that nice bit of cash, then hopefully get that yacht. Hope this video did help you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.